Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be yet another TikTok conspiracy theories video for you guys. You guys already know. I love TikTok. I will be so sad if it genuinely goes away. I actually can't think about it. I don't think it will. I'm hoping they just figure it out, because if they take away TikTok, I genuinely feel like I'll go insane. Is that good? No. There's definitely caveats to the idea of TikTok shutting down, because should I be this obsessed with an app? Theoretically, no. But am I? Yes. There are, of course, a lot of conspiracy theories all over TikTok about different celebrities and so many different things. Honestly, anything you could find on there. And you guys always tag me in different TikTok theories. Today we're going to go over some of the craziest TikTok conspiracy theories that are going viral right now. So the first theory I want to talk about is that Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter Blue Ivy is actually going to be the new leader of the Illuminati. I know that sounds crazy, but this theory has been going around for such a freaking long time. And I think it's essentially, obviously everything that's going on with P. Diddy and now Jay-Z being involved directly with P. Diddy's lawsuit. I think a lot of people are pointing fingers at Beyonce and Jay-Z specifically, claiming that they are the Illuminati leaders, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's always kind of been a thing, regardless of what Diddy was doing. But now, the Diddy situation has obviously just exacerbated this. However, people have been speculating since Blue Ivy was born that this little girl was born to be the leader of the Illuminati. People literally believe that she is Satan incarnate, which is a little insane, but stranger things have happened, I guess. So I think a lot of the theory has been stemming from Beyonce's pregnancy. Obviously, years ago, Beyonce had this classic viral clip of her sitting down, and you clearly see her pregnant stomach is weirdly getting squashed. Some people try to say it's the material of the dress. I've personally literally never seen anything like that, except for when Brie Vandekamp had a fake pregnancy bump. I actually cannot explain that. I will say, it is weird. I always thought that Beyonce used a surrogate to preserve her vanity, and that was why she had a fake pregnancy bump, but a lot of people have had different conspiracy theories about it in general, and we're going to talk about more, I guess, realistic, less tinfoil hat theory in a second. But I think a lot of people believe this about Blue Ivy because of her name. A lot of people think Blue Ivy stands for Born Living Under Evil, Illuminati's very youngest. But I will say it's kind of weird that such a fitting acronym does work, Many people believe that Blue Ivy is going to be the next generation's biggest celebrity ever, all because she was sacrificed to the Illuminati ever since she was born. And probably before that. I don't know. I think it's an interesting theory. I also sometimes think that she's probably just a kid, but it could be true. Something, however, that I find to be way more interesting is the concept that a woman named Kathy White is actually Blue Ivy's mom. So there's a woman named Kathy White who has been reported to be a mistress of Jay-Z in the early 2000s, 2010 to 2011. And this theory came from a reporter who used to be a senior editor for Star magazine. So Kathy White was better known as Corey, and allegedly her and Jay-Z were having an affair. So the senior editor of Star magazine, Liz Crocken, was basically asked by her boss to look into these rumors, and she got a hold of Corey, and she allegedly denied these claims and said that she never knew Jay-Z. But then Liz uncovered photos of Corey at a club in Vegas called Tao, and she was clearly hanging out with Jay-Z and Diddy. So she basically ended up calling Corey back, asking to talk about the photo evidence that obviously debunked her earlier claim that Corey had never met Jay-Z. Corey then allegedly told her that she would consider going public with her story, and allegedly she was also claiming to be pregnant with Jay-Z's child. Then just days later, at 28 years old, Corey died of an aneurysm. And many people believe that Jay-Z had something to do with her death. And recently, Beyonce has a song on Cowboy Carter called Daughter, and a lot of people think that it nods to Beyonce and Jay-Z killing Kathy Corey White. So the lyrics say, quote, "Your body laid out on these filthy floors, your bloodstains on my custom coutures, bathroom attendant let me right in, she was a big fan, I really tried to stay cool, but your arrogance disrupted my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do. They keep saying that I ain't nothing like my father, but I'm the furthest thing from choir boys and altars. If you cross me, I'm just like my father. I'm colder than Titanic water. What the fuck? Dragmore Ray has been the one whistleblowing the whole Diddy thing, and she actually believes that Beyonce's daughter, Blue Ivy, is actually Corey and Jay-Z's daughter, and that Beyonce's entire pregnancy was fake.
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Kathy White.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress.
Yeah.
Now. Why? Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch. Whoops. And disrespects you with other like Kathy Coriana White.
All right, well, let's do it like this.
Who was actually carrying his baby while you was faking it.
And again, like I've said, the idea that Beyonce's pregnancy was fake is not a new theory. So the fact that this information has been divulged is pretty insane, and it just checks out. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's true, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised. It's a little sketch. Speaking of Blue Ivy, I saw this funny TikTok of Blue Ivy, like, of people saying that Blue Ivy was telling her parents, like, not to kill Camila Cabello, and I just thought this was hilarious. I don't know what the hell Blue Ivy's doing here, but, like, why is she talking to her parents, like, no, like, don't do this one. What could she possibly be saying? And a lot of people think that she's telling her parents to spare Camila Cabello, which is, like, what? I don't know, but I just think that one was funny. All right, the next TikTok theory is about Wendy Williams, and also still has to do with Beyonce. So a lot of people are talking about Wendy Williams lately because she actually talked a lot about P. Diddy in the early 90s, trying to expose his behavior that is currently being exposed now. Now, Wendy Williams has also said a lot of things about Jay-Z and Beyonce. And in fact, she was, again, kind of a whistleblower for saying that Beyonce's pregnancy was fake due to that video. Now TikTok is claiming that Beyonce and Jay-Z / the Illuminati are the ones who are responsible for causing Wendy Williams's dementia, essentially because she was always exposing people in the industry from the inside, which obviously people are more inclined to listen to and believe. I don't know if this is true because obviously, like, can you cause dementia? Like, not that we're aware of, but, like, are there medical things that we're probably not aware of? Like, sure. So I would just say it's not that outlandish if all of the Illuminati conspiracy theories are accurate. That the theory that Wendy Williams was given dementia, I guess, is also not that insane when you look at it in that regard. So I don't know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this because Wendy Williams has truly been speaking out for a very long time, trying to get everyone to see what P. Diddy was up to. Speaking of Diddy, I saw a TikTok that pointed out my feelings towards the situation completely. Like, I feel like this makes a ton of sense, and it's basically the idea that Diddy specifically caught celebrities doing questionable things on camera at his freak-offs so that he could gain blackmail on them, so that if he ever went down, they would go down with him, and again, also just to gain general power and control. So it seems like a lot of people speaking out against P. Diddy, like Lil Rod specifically was saying how P. Diddy basically was like, if you do this, like, you will be more successful. Like, if you engage in these disturbing acts, then we will keep getting you success. And so therefore he was already sort of blackmailing them, and it's theorized that maybe P. Diddy got a lot of celebrities involved with these nefarious situations and recorded them so that he could use it for power and control. And I think that this is not even a conspiracy theory because I think this is definitely true. And what I will say is interesting, even though I don't believe a fucking word he says, is that Jay-Z's lawyer spoke out and is just like, P. Diddy and Jay-Z were never friends. Like, they're not longtime friends. They have no connection whatsoever. Like, they knew each other, that's it. Girl, what? They were clearly, like, very good friends. But you know what? What if Jay-Z was just doing some dark shit with Diddy, and Diddy got it all on tape, And that's what made Jay-Z have to continue to hang out with him. I don't know. It's kind of stupid because I was like, there's no way in hell that Jay-Z and Diddy weren't friends. Like, the fact that the lawyer even came out and said that, I was like, this just makes everything look stupid. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And do you think that that is why Diddy was always recording these freak-offs? Because even though these things would incriminate him, but they also could be used as leverage for anyone who wanted to speak out against what was happening. So let me know your thoughts. Alright, the next TikTok is about the Bermuda Triangle, and honestly, it just hurt my brain.
Okay, we might have just solved the Bermuda Triangle. You know, countless planes, boats, and people disappearing into thin air in that area of the Atlantic that's just an urban myth. The world's biggest mystery finally has an answer, and there's a reason the US Navy intentionally avoids it. As retired Navy admirals, among other government officials, have confirmed that UFOs can travel through water just as easily as they pass through air. USOs, unidentified submerged objects, are our most recent addition to the tinfoil hat told you so checklist. And now that we look back with this in mind, reports from our past tell us we've been seeing them for centuries. As far back as 1492, in the personal journal of Christopher Columbus was an entry about a glimmering light he saw moving in the water below as he sailed the ocean. Just a day or two later, he hits land, which means that entry was written when he and his crew were right in the Bermuda Triangle. In 1644, the mayor of Boston is reported to have seen two bright lights come out of the water just off the east coast. 1873, the Adelheid ship reported to have sailed over a massive circular object in the South China Sea that lit up the ocean for over an hour. Something they said looked like a Ferris wheel, which kicked off a series of reports of the same object over the next few decades. In 1879, the HMS Vulture saw a large Ferris wheel spinning in the ocean with spokes that were 7.5 meters wide and spaced 30 meters apart. 1880, commander of the SS Shah Jahan described a massive Ferris wheel under a perfectly calm sea near India's Malabar coast. 1901, Persian Gulf, captain of the SS Kilwa saw lights emitting from the same underwater Ferris wheel revolving at a speed of around 100 kilometers an hour. 1907 and 1909, crews of the SS Delta and SS Bintang again saw glowing spinning wheels about 275 meters in diameter beneath the water in the Straits of Malacca. The Danish Meteorological Institute reported a massive rotating wheel with lights back in the South China Sea, spotted by the Dutch steamer Valentine, this time above the water in 1910. Reports like these have been extremely common all around our world's oceans throughout history, which sounds very similar to what's been seen around the Bermuda Triangle. Locals, tourists, and military alike have hundreds of reports of lights underwater, strange craft circling them, round objects rising and going beneath the surface. It's why the Bermuda Triangle is the Bermuda Triangle. Countless stories about unexplained disappearances, metallic objects, and lights seen in the ocean, which survivors of accidents in the triangle have very commonly reported on. In 1945, we have the now famous story of the 5 military bombers flying over the triangle on routine training. All 5 planes vanish without a trace. The Navy sends a rescue plane and that one disappears too, all never heard from again. And the US Navy is well aware of the activity in that area, that's for sure. Like, did you know the Navy kind of has their own bootleg version of Area 51 they call AUTEC, Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, which is located in the Bahamas in the Bermuda Triangle. I wonder why. A secret facility where they test their own, mainly sea-based military technology. And the personnel working there have also reported the same bizarre observations in the area, with some noting crafts up to a mile in diameter coming out of and going back into the ocean without a visible splash. Almost like these objects aren't affected by matter, which sounds impossible, but also kind of makes sense when you think about how fast and erratically UFOs move. Some researchers suggest these UAPs may have vacuum force fields around them that manipulate matter, which allows them to move and interact with our world in ways that seem to defy physics. Kinda sounds like a warp drive to me. And these aren't just rumors, by the way. We have ex-Department of Defense officials like Luis Elizondo who openly talk about declassified operations from down there, which only prove exactly what everyone else was saying. One story involves a Navy helicopter pilot who recovers test missiles from the ocean and was en route to retrieve one from the area, who was approaching the missile when all of a sudden something huge and round slowly rose to the surface from deep beneath the water. They couldn't believe their eyes as a circular object the size of a small island becomes visible just below the ocean right under the missile they were going to retrieve. Panicked and unsure what to do, they watch in disbelief as the object sucks the missile down and then sinks back into the depths of the ocean as swiftly as it appeared. Elizondo also talks about the Aguadilla incident, a video of a UAP around Puerto Rico that he confirms enters the water without making a splash, comes back out, and then splits in two, which the Pentagon recently debunked for being just a temperature reading mistake, but you also have ex-military personnel insisting it's real. And these are just the declassified reports. He made it very obvious that there were many more incidents that he was not allowed to talk about that you could imagine would only get worse. So what on earth is going on here? What are these gargantuan circular objects found in our oceans time and time again?
The Bermuda Triangle to me is one of those phenomenons that I just don't choose to understand because it freaks me out so much. Like, you know what I mean? I saw this TikTok and I was like, yeah, that's probably true. Scroll. Like, I literally was like, oh yeah, I agree. I can't do, what can I do about that? What can I do about that? I don't like that. I've always said that I don't think that we should be even exploring space whatsoever. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. If you want to go to space, first of all, you're weird. Like, to me, as someone who wants to genuinely be an astronaut and like actually go to space, you have to be a little fucking insane for that. You do, like, you think I'm gonna get out a rocket ship? A rocket ship? Like, that's fake. Like, it's not. No. I have always said, though, we need to stop exploring space so much and just chill on that. Let's go in the ocean. The ocean, it's here. It's on Earth, babe. It's here. It's with you. We go in it. A lot. I would say 99% of human beings go in the ocean at some point in their life. And I would say about 99.9999% of humans never go to outer space. I just feel like, why are we so hell-bent on understanding space when I think we should be understanding the ocean? Because that's right here. Let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think is the explanation behind the Bermuda Triangle? I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it. Honestly, I could do a whole video on it. Let me know if you would want to see that. Alright, the next theories we're going to talk about have to do with Luigi Mangione. So obviously this guy has been literally all over TikTok. People been thirsting over him. People think he should be free. People are admiring him. People are hating him. It's really a wide spectrum, honestly. But nonetheless, Luigi Mangione is the killer of United Healthcare's CEO, and he was leaving clues for such a long time about what he was going to do. So on December 4th, a masked man shot at point-blank range United Healthcare Group CEO Brian Thompson and killed him. So now this, surprisingly, I think a lot of people were surprised by the fact that this was a young kid who was rich and went to an Ivy League school, valedictorian, literal genius, Luigi Mangione, and he has been detained for the crime. But Luigi Mangione has left behind a trail of clues that tell us why he killed the United Healthcare CEO. So the first thing that he did on the scene of the crime, he left a backpack filled with Monopoly money. And that Monopoly money is going to be pointed out later, but just remember the game Monopoly. So Luigi Mangione's social medias were very carefully left in place to be investigated. Like, he knew he was going to get caught. That was no question, and it was all very meticulously planned out. So his Twitter header is a picture of a Pokemon, a picture of his back surgery that apparently went very wrongly, which I guess is what inspired him to kill the CEO of United Healthcare, and then a photo before his surgery, seemingly, of him just like hiking. And it's like kind of a nod to the life that the healthcare system took away from him. So the Pokemon is kind of random. It's Burloom, and its number is 286. And we see 286 come up a lot in regards to this. So Luigi Mangione had 286 posts on Twitter, exactly. He was also caught at a McDonald's exactly 286 miles away from the crime scene. And not only that, he allegedly fled New York City on Highway 286 to Pennsylvania. So what is the significance of 286? Well, it's theorized, but I guess at this point kind of proven, that Luigi wanted to bring attention to the insurance denial code at 286, which basically talks about when an insurance claim is denied by a healthcare group and the patient cannot receive the care that they need or the medicine that they need. And even the proverb 286 says, "Better a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways," which is insane. And also, going back to the Monopoly money, the game of Monopoly has a total of 286 pieces and a total number of 286 blocks. I just think that this is so insane. Not only that, but a lot of people actually believe that he wasn't working alone. So apparently the number of people his cousin Nino Mangione was following was exactly 286 people as well. So some people believe that he was involved in some way. I don't know. I just am gonna say that this is fucking insane. Like, that's actually crazy and so smart and, like, honestly scarily smart that someone could have that kind of well thought out plan like that. Like, that is a very, very meticulously thought out plan. It's very interesting and pretty insane, and I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Also, his lawyer is married to P. Diddy's lawyer, so that's interesting as well. What do you guys think are the connections on that? If there are any, I want to hear your thoughts. All right, so the next TikTok theory I want to talk about is about the idea that brands do not actually carry plus sizes. And I think that this is such an interesting concept. When I saw this TikTok, I was like, absolutely, I've always felt like this, is that brands are always sold out of plus sized clothes because they don't actually want fat people to wear their clothes, but they want to seem inclusive so that they don't get canceled. 100% I believe this. You know why? Because fucking Hollister and Brandy Melville and all those other stores used to be like, we don't want fat people to wear our clothes because that's not the aesthetic that we're looking toward, which is clinically insane, but whatever. And I truly believe that there are so many fashionable designer brands that carry plus sizes, but they are always sold out of them, no matter what, in every color. And I just think that that is insane, and I think that this theory is 100% true. I think 1,000% they are pretending to be sold out of items that they don't actually make because they don't actually want fat people to wear their brand, but they don't want to get canceled. So, I don't know. I believe it. All right, the next TikTok I want to talk about is, I'm kind of going to be debunking it a little bit. Sort of. It's kind of true, but not quite right.
Okay, so I came across this really insane Elvis Presley theory. I'm gonna kind of break it all down for you. Elvis died in 1977. His family never wanted to release the public evidence of his death. So basically all the details. We got speculation. We thought maybe it was too many drugs in his system. We thought maybe he was being overworked. So his family said in the year of 2027, we'll release those. That's
2027?
2027. That's almost 50 years after his death.
Whoa.
This is where it gets really weird. There's a man named Jesse Garin, and he claims that he is Elvis Presley. He's been claiming he's Elvis Presley for quite some time now. No one's believed him because he's in a mental institute.
Well, yeah.
But
this is so good.
So there's a doctor that worked in this hospital with Jesse. And during his time there, he was like, I just feel this weird skeptical gut feeling about this guy, Jesse, who's claiming that he's Elvis. So let's do a DNA test and let's see what we find. Guess what they found?
What?
Jesse's DNA was the exact match of Elvis's DNA. Same DNA, okay? Jesse's DNA matches. The doctor's like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
Let's do something further. Let's test Elvis's parents' DNA and see if it's a match with Jesse's. What do you know? It's a match. So this mental patient, mental institute patient, yes, this is real. His DNA matches not only Elvis's, but also Elvis's parents, okay? So obviously people are thinking maybe this is his long lost brother. Elvis was born as a twin, but this is where it is the weirdest of all part of this whole story though. His brother was born, his twin brother was born as a stillborn, so he was pronounced dead at birth, okay?
Right.
Twin brother's name was gonna be Jesse.
Dude, why is this not like the cover story?
This is what people are kind of speculating. Yeah. Elvis never died. Elvis could not be a star anymore. If you watch the movie, you could see he was really struggling at the end. So people are thinking that he wanted a new life and this was his way to do it. So he is Jesse. He's been the person living in the mental institute the whole time. That's the theory, is that he's not actually dead. He is Jesse.
So the premise of this theory is somewhat true. We've talked about it before, and it is the theory that Elvis Presley is alive and is this man named Jesse. So I have always believed this theory, which is crazy. Like, if all the evidence is true, like, and just these people aren't lying, then I don't know, I kind of believe it, which is nuts. But anyway, basically what happened was Fox 8 TV news coverage had a story covered by Suzanne Stratford, and a couple of the things that were said in this TikTok were not actually quite accurate. They were somewhat true, but not quite there. For example, Jesse's DNA did not actually match Elvis Presley's DNA. That's never been able to be like proven. It was never been able to, it didn't have enough markers to like confirm or deny that specifically. However, Jesse matched both sides of the Presley family. That is true. He matched Elvis's cousin, Brenda Smith, who was Elvis's maternal cousin, and then also matched Donna Presley, who was Elvis's paternal cousin. So therefore, Jesse's DNA matched both sides of the Presley family, making the only other person in the world that would have that exact DNA match to be Elvis. Like, that's it. Obviously, Elvis had a twin brother named Jesse. I kind of have a theory that the parents were so poor that they gave up one kid for adoption, and that's who Jesse actually is he's not actually Elvis. He's actually Jesse, but that's just kind of my theory. And there's also another layer to this that I think is really interesting to talk about, and it's about a woman named Eliza Presley. So she was born Alice Elizabeth, but went by Eliza Tiffin, and she legally changed her name in 2006 after realizing that she was related to Elvis. So essentially, she wanted to take the DNA test because she had a strong feeling that her father was Vernon Presley, because her family actually knew the Presleys, like that was a thing, but she never knew who her dad was. So she thought maybe her dad could have been Elvis or Vernon Presley. So Eliza ended up contacting Susan Stratford from Fox 8 TV because she wanted to test her DNA against the Elvis DNA that Jesse actually didn't match. So they did this, and again, the DNA markers on like Elvis's DNA was not enough to suffice, but Jesse and Eliza matched, not as father and daughter, but as half siblings paternally. Eliza also matched to Donna Presley, which, what the fuck? Like, actually, if all of this is true, which I don't know, like, are they allowed to just make that up? Like, maybe. Eliza had no idea who this Jesse person was, had never really heard of him, just heard this on the news, and yet is now a sibling of this person. And this is years apart where they decided to reach out, because 2002 is when Jesse's DNA was tested and when this episode was aired on Fox 8. It was not until 2008 where Eliza Presley decided to try to get this DNA test. And again, she was never trying to test her DNA against Jesse. She didn't think Jesse was actually related to Elvis. She was trying to test her DNA against Elvis's DNA. But yet, these two people who don't know each other, have never met before, are now not only matching, like, one, Jesse, both sides of the Presley family, and now Eliza matching the Presley side of Elvis's family, but also matching each other. What are the fucking odds of that? Very rare. I would say extremely rare. I don't know. I don't know. All right, the next topic I want to talk about is about the OpenAI whistleblower. So, a former OpenAI researcher, Sushir Balji, was found dead at 26 years old, just 3 months after accusing the company of violating copyright laws in the development of ChatGPT. So, his death was ruled a suicide, but a lot of people have different conspiracy theories surrounding it, because they think it's a bit suspicious that he happened to resign from OpenAI this past August, stating that he, quote, no longer wanted to contribute to technologies he believed would bring more harm than benefit to society. And it just makes you wonder, did he know too much? I honestly am freaked out by this because AI scares me. I use it every day. I love it, actually, and it's a very helpful tool. But it does freak me out ultimately, especially with the voice patterns and like being able to recreate different voices using AI, and how lifelike it's starting to sound is fucking terrifying. Like, you can get an AI video of anyone saying anything that you want, and that's scary, honestly. Like, I know that there are people who get phone calls from their loved ones that are AI generated voice copies of their loved one's voice, being like, hey mom, like, I'm kidnapped, I need you to send this person $10,000. That is fucking so twisted, it's a little insane. So it makes you wonder if there are some dark secrets that this man had known about OpenAI and they ended up killing him, but it's all alleged. All right, the last TikTok we're going to talk about is the theory that human consciousness actually comes from a higher dimension.
This scientist claims that human consciousness comes from a higher dimension. Now, it's worth noting that scientists have been studying or trying to figure out where consciousness comes from for centuries, and they still don't know. So this is Michael Pika. He studied at Harvard and the California Institute of Technology, and he received a PhD in experimental condensed matter physics. He suggests that human consciousness comes from a higher dimension. So this ties in well with the theory of hyperdimensionality. And that is the idea that the universe goes way beyond the visible universe. It's not just made up of the 3 dimensions that we can perceive. There may be dimensions that are invisible to us, but definitely exist. To understand this, you can go back to my parable of the gut bacterium. But it's essentially this. Imagine you're a bacterium that's living in the gut, okay? Food comes in, you consume the food. Your whole world, your whole perception is that enclosed structure that is the gut. You know nothing about the sun, you know nothing about the universe, you know nothing about farming, the stock market, all the things that go into the food that goes to the human being that consumes it so that the bacteria can consume it. All of that exists outside of the bacteria's perception. It wouldn't even begin to know how to comprehend it, but it still exists. Now, we exist in a 3-dimensional plane. Things can be measured by length, height, width, and time. We look at an object like this, we can see that it is a sphere because it has depth to it. But if we lived in a 2-dimensional plane, if we were looking at a sphere, all we would see is a circle. Our perception would not be able to comprehend this. So what we would see is this. Now, there's many different examples of what people believe is evidence that we are experiencing higher dimensions. Even though you might not see a physical manifestation, when you engage your brain in certain ways like creating art, practicing science, pondering big philosophical questions, or traveling to all sorts of far-flung places, it expands your perceptions. You might be actually tapping into something that is higher than what you can perceive. Some people would call this inspiration, but what does inspiration come from? And the source of inspiration just is fascinating to me, like the simultaneous discovery theory. The fact that multiple inventors can exclusively be working on a project and receive inspiration to create something very similar, and they have no interaction with one another. What's fascinating to me about this is the fact that there's many people who have talked about the potential of your higher self, or higher forms of superconscious that you can tap into. Carl Jung would often speak of the collective unconscious, a realm of knowledge that is shared beyond individual mind. Could this collective unconscious come from a higher dimension? Loris Cannon, who is famous for pioneering the quantum healing hypnosis technique, often talks about accessing your higher self. Through her techniques, accessing people's past life regressions and then the life in between lives, their spirit guides, she gathered information about how not only do we incarnate on this earth, but we are also a conscious power that sends some of our consciousness to incarnations, but it's not always 100%. Dependent on the perceived difficulty, you might need to send more or you might need to send less. The consciousness that is you can exist outside of your body and exist in a higher dimension. Neville Goddard would often talk about the power of consciousness and imagination to shape reality. You can do this by connecting to a universal mind in a higher dimension. Buddha taught about the escaping of the will of samsara, achieving nirvana, the ultimate state of reality beyond ego consciousness. Could this be a reference to a higher consciousness in a higher dimension? Jesus would talk about unity with God, the oneness that connects all beings within love. He also said the kingdom of God is within you. Is that a reference to a tiny piece of a higher consciousness that exists in a higher dimension that is within all of us? And honestly, the list goes on and on. You have Guru Nanak, who talked about Ek Onkar, the idea that there is a single divine source or consciousness where all creation stems from. Everything is interconnected, both light and shadow. All an illusion to give us this reality, but we all stem from a higher consciousness or source. There are so many experiences where people talk about higher dimensions, whether through psychedelics, sacred medicines, meditation, breath work, near-death experiences, UFO sightings. I mean, the fact that people can take psychedelics and one of the most common experiences that is reoccurring is seeing machine elves, these higher dimensional beings that we can't comprehend without going into that state of mind. I mean, like, what's the chances of that just reoccurring randomly? Listen, the more I learn, the less I know. The one thing I know is we are so limited by our own perceptions. We can't even comprehend what we don't know, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so this one hurt my brain. Like, that actually is the perfect note to leave it off on, because I'm just like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that information? How am I supposed to just go about my day normally now? What do you mean? What do you mean? Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of these TikTok conspiracy theories, and don't forget to tag me in any of the TikTok theories you want me to talk about. But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and subscribe for new videos every week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!